Welcome to the Education Over Debt podcast. I'm Sheena Hogan. I'm so glad you joined. This is a place where I give practical financial tips that anyone can understand and you can begin to implement now. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and turn your notifications on so that you are aware of any new content that we drop. Listen to us anywhere you listen to your podcast. And on Spotify, you can become a monthly subscriber for as little as 99 cents per month. Today's topic is This Is It. Today, before we get started with talking about This Is It, I want to talk about first year adjustments. As you all know, I recently moved back to Charlotte, North Carolina, and it's been a little challenging for me to make this adjustment. I know it sounds crazy, but it's been one of the challenging adjustments that I've had to make. And I've lived in other cities before. I lived in big cities and it wasn't as hard. But what I realized is that when I moved to Maryland, I had a group of friends. And then when I moved to Chicago, I kind of put myself into a lot of organizations, got involved, joined the chapter of my sorority, things like that, so that I could meet new people. And I was constantly, always like seeking to meet new people and kind of learn new things. And so that way I was able to meet new people and do things. And so it wasn't as hard as far as finding that connection group of friends as it was in coming back home to Charlotte. I also in Maryland or in Chicago joined a lot of different churches and met people that way too. Because as you know, usually when you start attending the church, you usually find a little community of people that you could be around. I had a strong community in Maryland, and so I wanted to move to Chicago as well with a good faith-based community to kind of share ideas with and learn from and all that good stuff. However, coming back to Charlotte, it's been a little bit challenging because I moved back in the middle of a pandemic. So I moved back at the end of 2020 and things weren't as open as quickly, and so therefore I could not kind of like meet as many people as build those connections and those relationships as quickly as I've done in some of the other areas. And so it's been a little bit of a challenge. And so with that though, I've learned a few things. So the first thing I feel like I learned was having some clarity in relationships as far as where I stand, trying to reconnect with old friends, build new friends, like what am I looking for, all that good stuff. So I learned some clarity in those connections. I also learned how to set some boundaries, some healthy boundaries, so that we continue our friendship and really have a meaningful relationship or connection. And then the second challenge that I've had since coming back home is really more so on the financial front. I bought my first townhome this year. I was trying to get new furniture and do all this stuff by a certain date that I set in my mind that I didn't need to. But then also I had the scholarship reception for the first time for the foundation, a lot of one-time expenses where I spent money there to try to get that up and going. And so I've been a little challenged financially trying to figure out my flow. Now, though I think that it's going to get better as the year continues because I've set those boundaries for myself, it's been a little bit of challenge. And I wanted to share this message with you just to encourage you that if you are making a major transition in your life for the first year, let's say you are going to college, you move to a different state to go to school, or something like that, just know that it is normal for you to have some challenges in that first year as you begin to adjust and kind of adapt to the new environment that you're in. So that's normal. I don't want you to give up during that first year. I want you to kind of just stay the course, just like finish it out, see it through the first year. And then the next year, it'll be a lot smoother because you know a little bit more what to expect. You probably made some friends by then, you know where to go for certain things. So for the first year, maybe a little bit of challenge, but I want you to continue to push through the first year because after the first year, I think things will be a lot easier. And also be clear about what are some of the challenges, like what are you looking for that you feel like you're missing, or what exactly is the challenge. So be clear about what your challenges are, and then what are some ways to resolve those challenges. Like how can you meet some new friends, maybe get involved in some organizations like I mentioned. How can you learn your way around the city? Maybe again, get a group of friends. You guys can, drive around the city, or if you get in organizations, maybe someone may have a car and then they can like show you the city that way or help you get some things that you may need off campus. So just try to be creative in how you are learning about the city and give yourself some patience as well as some grace as you transition and make that first year transition, because the first year is usually the hardest. And then after that, it'll be a little bit easier. Now, on to my next topic of This Is It. In regards to young people, I know that sometimes you're taught to go to college or go do all that stuff. Then you get to college, you graduate from college, and you start working, and you're starting to think about, oh man, this is it. this is all there is to life, right? It's just going to work and this is my job. I want to encourage you to always try to look for something new to learn and do, because I don't want you to think that like all this is for a waste of time and you're just building up some momentum to get here, but now that you're here, it's like, this is all that it was. I want to encourage you to kind of continue to push through and to continue to always be open to learning new things. Since the pandemic, I've been trying to learn a new hobby or sport. Um, each year or what have you. So I want to encourage you the same thing. Try to learn something new so that your this is it won't feel like it's so final or like you worked your way up for this big thing and now that you're here, it's like, that's all it was. So try to continue to learn something new as you continue on with your journey. So yes, once you graduate school and start working, yes, this is it as far as being an adult, right? Paying bills and working. That's another reason why I like to encourage people to go to college. Like you got your whole life to work. So why not go take a few years to like meet people, build new relationships, learn a new skill, because the rest of your life is just working. And as you get older and start having families and all that stuff, it can become a little bit more stressful. So I think college is still great. Even, I mean, of course, don't take out a whole lot of student loan debt. Be mindful of how you navigate that whole thing. But me personally, I still think college is great. It gives you a time to kind of learn who you are as an individual, learn some new skills, meet some new people before you begin to really just work as an adult. All right. So as you continue to go on, once you realize that this is it, this is all there is in regards to going to college, graduating, getting a job, working, just remember to continue to try to learn something new to make your life interesting so that it can still feel like something to live for. Okay. So learn a new skill, learn a new hobby, learn a new sport, travel to a new place. Just do something to kind of keep your life interesting. Set a new goal for yourself, whether it could be any kind of goal, do something new for yourself. That's how you kind of keep life interesting and not just, going to work, paying a bill. Like it's so much more to life than that. So I just want to encourage you to continue to learn something new as you transition into adulthood. As you all know, I've been doing this podcast since I came home. I started it in October 2020, and we are now looking at July 2022. So I've tried to stream it with 8 episodes per season. The first season, I kind of just focused on things I wanted to say in regards to money management and things of that nature. And then the second and third season, I've had guests, as well as with this season, I've had a few guests. At this point, I think for me, it feels like it's a time to go ahead and end it. I think that this has been a great experience. I've learned a lot of new things. I learned about, how to, do videos, make them entertaining, lighting, editing, all that good stuff. What I like, what I don't like, what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, right? I see the growth in myself from beginning to now, how long it takes me to do a video. At the beginning, it took me a very long time to do videos, but now, not so much. So I've seen the growth in myself, and I am proud of myself for sticking out there and doing it. I was doing it at a time where some people wasn't onto it as much. Now, I've always listened to talk radio. I like talk radio. So I've been listening to talk radio for years. The podcast thing is like the new phrase that they're calling it. But prior to it being called a podcast, really, it was just talk radio. You could listen to it on the radio, people conversations about different things. And then usually they'll have an app or something that you can download and listen to it that way. But before apps, it was just listening to it on radio, right? So I've been a fan of podcasts for a long time. And so that's why I wanted to kind of do one. And I feel like I've explored that and figured out how to do it. And I feel like I've grown a lot in doing it. But with that being said, I do think that now may be a time for me to go ahead and end it. I currently have challenges sometimes with getting guests to come on the show or being consistent with that. And I really just don't feel like I have anything else to say. I think I've said everything that I need to say at this point. And moving forward, what I'm going to do is maybe have like conversations with Sheena. So it may be just a pop up here or there, but it's not going to be anything consistent. Of course, we'll have our scholarship receptions continue to be recorded, and that will be posted on the website. And then outside of that, any conversation. So if I meet someone who, has something great going on or something that they want to share with young people, if they have any opportunities in regards to going to college, career, anything in the community, I'll be sure to kind of bring that on here and share as I find out about it. But again, being that I am just coming back to Charlotte, I don't have that many connections here at all. So we'll kind of see how that plays out over time. I do want to thank you all for supporting me in this journey, watching the podcast, sharing the podcast, encouraging me to continue to do the podcast, even though you may know some of my challenges. And then also just supporting the foundation overall. I've truly have grown, I think, with the foundation and starting the foundation and even starting this podcast and learning how to, like I said, entertain, lighting, editing, things like that. I've taken away a lot of good things. And so this is going to be my last podcast. So this is it. Thank you guys for your support. And I will look forward to my conversations with Sheena coming up.